What's going on, and welcome to the Bros Talking Soccer podcast. My name is Dave Knittel, and on today's podcast, I'm joined by Mike Rex and Jeffrey Mitchell from Roxborough United Soccer Club. Guys, how you doing today?
How you doing, Dave? Good.
We're doing great, man. Thanks for having us.
Of course. So thank you so much for joining. I'm excited to get to the interview. If anyone is joining us live on YouTube, hello, welcome. Please feel free, interact with us as we go along here. Have the chat feature up. So if you got anything to ask Mike or Jeff or anything else, please feel free to chime in. But I think with that, any last questions, guys? Are we ready to get to the interview?
Let's go.
Let's go, man.
All right, let's do it. I'd like to welcome on Mike Rex and Jeffrey Mitchell. Mike is president of Roxborough United Soccer Club, and Jeffrey is a coach for Roxborough United Soccer Club, as well as a Sons of Ben member and Philadelphia Union Fan of the Year. Guys, welcome to Bros Talking Soccer. How you doing today?
We're doing awesome. Thanks for having us, Dave.
We love it. Thank you, Bros Talking Soccer.
Of course, we're excited to have you and get to learn a little bit more about yourselves and Roxborough United Soccer Club specifically. So let's start with learning a little bit more about yourselves. Mike, why don't we start with you? So where are you from and how did you get involved in soccer?
Dave, I'm like you. I'm from Roxborough. I actually started with the Indians up at Pachella Field. So that was, 30. I'm 39. I don't want to give that away, but about 36 years ago. So I've been playing soccer ever since. I actually still play to this day. So
love it. I love it. And
yeah.
Jeff, how about you?
I'm from Roxborough, born and raised. My mom signed me up. My dad sadly passed when I was a young guy. My mom signed me up for soccer to find, some camaraderie and, learn to build myself up. And I love the game ever since, man. I played for the Roxborough Indians. My passion for the game exceeds my talent. So my career was short, but I love giving back and I love this game.
I love it. And so just three Roxborough guys, chatting. I love it. My dad actually played for the Indians back in the day. I think he's a little bit older than you guys, but he's also an academy alum of that club as well. And so I forgot to bring that up before we recorded. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So we all have a connection there. So in 2016, Roxborough United Soccer Club was formed from the merger of that Roxborough Indians Club as well as Houston Soccer Club. Both those clubs were founded in the 1970s. Were either of you involved in either of those other clubs before the merger?
So I can answer to that. I was involved with the Indians for a little while, and then I was also involved with Houston Soccer Club for about 5 years as a coach. And then the merger obviously happened, which was a great thing for this neighborhood and soccer in the neighborhood. It's been great ever since.
Yeah, and I wanted to dig more into that. So what went into the decisions to ultimately merge those two clubs? Why did it happen?
So, as you know, soccer is kind of one of those things, especially towards the suburbs where we are in Philadelphia, where you kind of have to have a powerful club in the community. And we had two separate clubs that were kind of struggling for numbers. And then you would get, you would skip age groups when we would have travel teams, and you just didn't have enough. And when we, got together and got our numbers aligned together, it just made total sense to push two clubs together, and then that way we get the best resources from the community. The use of all the fields that we had are now under one club. Just from a resource perspective, I think it was an obvious decision. Probably waited too long to happen, but now that it's happened, it's been great.
Yeah, and that makes sense. And what goes into merging two clubs? So I assume probably some meetings take place, maybe some, emails flow back and forth between the clubs. Hey, would you guys be interested in this? And then what happens to get everybody on board and actually make it actually come to fruition?
Yeah, so it's a struggle at first because you don't know which club's going to absorb the other club and kind of. You have two directors who, by the way, Carl Zellner was the Indians director and Keith McFarland was the Houston director. And those guys worked really well together to make this happen. It was a lot of behind-the-scenes work. But in the end, we obviously had to do it. So we just recreated a whole new name rather than one club keeping the name as was before. So those two did an amazing job in getting the leadership of both clubs on board and kind of starting this brand new club. And that's where we've gone from there.
And real quick, for all those people out there, the Europe snobs, we actually united two clubs. So Roxborough United is a legit name that we can use. We get that often sometimes from people. what did you unite? And we can actually tell them we united Houston Soccer and Roxborough Indians. So.
I love it. I was actually going to mention that because you see these MLS clubs coming in and a lot of other clubs just taking that United name. But I was going to bring that up. So yeah, thanks, Jeff. It's awesome to hear that.
No Inter Roxborough here. No need of any lawsuits from Inter Milan or Inter Miami.
No Real Roxborough or any of those ridiculous MLS
Not
names.
Yet. Not until we get a king that we really like. Once we find a king we like, we might go Real Roxborough.
There you go. So speaking of leadership and whatnot, so Mike, you're the club president. What goes, and you're also a coach there. What goes into being a youth club president? What are some of your duties and responsibilities?
Well, it's funny. I kind of took this on with the idea that we wanted to go from what was a really good rec league and a good spot for kids to just come and play soccer. And when I first took over, the idea was to get the right people in place. So it's not a matter of me being a president and just running with it and doing everything. I had guys like Jeff come on board. We had Linda, who's like really the backbone of the club.
Hi, Linda.
Linda, we love you. And then just a great board in general, and putting those right pieces in the place kind of was my biggest duty. Right off the bat, because if you don't have a great team with you, then, it's just like soccer. If you don't have a great team working together, then the product isn't going to be great. So that was the first thing we did. We put all the right pieces in place, and we feel like we have that right now. But, aside from that, it's really figuring out what do you have to do to get your club to the next level. And a lot of that is a matter of getting the right resources. So we created this partnership with the Philadelphia Union, which has been just tremendous. And we started that on Saturday. It was our first training session with the union. It's just something that we can really proudly hang our hat on.
Yeah, I saw some of the photos on social media, and that was really cool. And so what's involved in that partnership? So, well, let's start with how did it come about? So Jeffrey, I know you're connected with the Sons of Ben. Did it come through that, or was it something else?
It was a little bit of everything. Actually, I've been a member of the Sons of Ben since 2010, so I wasn't a part of the original 07 guys, but got in early. A year into being a supporter, I was made director of social media for the Sons of Ben, and then eventually went on to become vice president for a couple of years. I love this team and that club so much that I named my son Benjamin Franklin. His name's Benjamin Franklin Mitchell, and I just love the game, like I said, so much. And the Sons of Ben were as much about charity and growing the game as they were about supporting the union. And I try to bring that passion into everything I do. So through that, the union started an initiative with David Pettikin. He's the youth general manager, and he wants to bring soccer back into the city. We're not hating on the suburban clubs, but in the last MLS draft, there wasn't a single player from the city of Philadelphia, which is pretty crazy. How can a city with millions of people not be producing any soccer players? So our goal is to make PPR soccer as good as the high-price academies. And that means, Roxborough, you're from here, your parents. It's a blue-collar town. No one on our board's getting paid, and we fundraise to keep it cost-effective. So you don't have to, miss out on soccer just because your parents still make a lot of money. We want you to play. We're going to figure out how to get you on this team and in this club.
I love it. And so as a part of the partnership with the union, what do you guys get? What does the union get? What's involved in the partnership?
So we get training, obviously, which is one of the areas that we highlighted as a new board that we needed to get. We're an all-volunteer club. The coaches are all volunteers, which is great. You need those people in your community to be involved, but they need support, and we need support in order to get our kids the correct training. So, when we got involved with the union, that was one of the things I jokingly said to Dave Pettikin, how about this? I'm not going to name organizations, but how about this organization, or how about that organization? What should we do to get training? And he said, don't sign with anybody. Let me, work something out. And we've worked something out together. It's been great. And what the kids will get now is they'll get the training with the travel program, but every kid's going to get a ticket to a union game. They're going to get us a tailgating spot for Roxborough United. They're going to give them flags that they can walk to the stadium with. And then they'll have the opportunity at halftime to play on the pitch, which is pretty incredible experience, for a kid, and especially for a kid from Roxborough who, doesn't always have the resources to have something like that happen. It's awesome.
Yeah, that is really cool. I remember back in the day, I played before the Union was around. We played at a Kicks match. So back the indoor team that used to exist. Yeah, yeah. So I remember that was just such a cool experience, and I'm sure playing in an outdoor stadium with I don't want to disparage the Kicks and what they represented, but more like the real kind of soccer fans outdoor game. It's got to be an awesome experience playing in front of the Sons of Ben for the kids. That's really, really cool to hear.
And we want to, grow the game for the Union too. We want Philly is one of the most notorious sporting towns on earth. So we want it to be the most badass place for people to come play soccer. We want other teams to show up here afraid before they even get in the door, man.
I love it.
We want our kids to see the passion and see that if they work hard and, dedicate themselves, that can be them one day.
I love it. I love it. And so you touched on some of the fundraising stuff, and I want to ask about that. You guys have a partnership with Dick's Sporting Goods. What's involved in that partnership, and what are you guys doing as far as a fundraising perspective?
Yeah, so Dick's Sporting Goods, I mean, it's been a really, really neat partnership with them. Aside from, monetary things that they've been able to deliver us, they've given us materials, which is something that a club like us really needs. We don't have the budget to go out and spend, thousands of dollars on equipment, and they've been able to help with that. And I think the biggest benefit, to be honest with you, that we've gotten from Dick's is the website. Their website is second to none. We've gone from, having to take checks and cash, and I know our treasurer Jen Nicastro is absolutely in love with this website. Yeah. So we've had to do a lot of administrative stuff it just gets done now, online, and it gives us an ability to really streamline our process and focus on the kids, which is what we're all here to focus on.
That's awesome to hear. What if anybody wants to support or do anything to help the cause? Is there anything that they can do? Donations, merch sales? What can people do if they want to help?
We're kind of setting up a lot of stuff on that front right now. We're laying all the groundwork right now. We actually there's actually a supporter, Eric Schertz from the Sons of Ben, who passed away sadly 5 years ago, and his parents are actually helping us fund a program that will make kids that have recently lost a parent play soccer for free. So the Eric D. Schertz Memorial Foundation, and we're going to partner up with them and the Sons of Ben. And like I said, we're working on getting PayPal up, merch up, and it's blue collar neighborhood. We go out with buckets on the weekends and try to fundraise, bake sales, whatever. We'll do anything, man. We did a tree lighting ceremony in December with Fang and with David Pettikin, and Santa Claus came out. We want to build a community, not just a soccer club. So everybody in this neighborhood has been fantastic, and like I said, all the coaches, some of them have never even played the game, and they're going all in to help these kids. And now the Union are really help bringing our game to the next level.
Yeah, and I just want to jump in on that and say, I know you received one of our scarves, and thank you for purchasing that. But we have an awesome, awesome scarf and an awesome logo. So,
we're going to fail on the name now, but
we will get Greg Monahan. Greg Monahan in our logo.
Shout out, Greg.
It is awesome. It's one of the best around.
It is, man. We love it. And
so you get our merch, you'll get something hot.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love the scarf. It's unique. So first off, I love what you guys are doing from a community perspective. That's the way soccer clubs exist most around the world. And I love what you guys are doing from that perspective. Then on the logo front and your branding and all of that, I love the colors. I love the gray with the black and the white. I really, really like it a lot. And I love my scarf. And so anybody out there, make sure to get one if you can. Now on the scarf front, you guys are constant. I love what you're doing as far as promotion, and you're constantly getting, soccer celebrities or Union players pictures with the scarf. Does one of you just have a scarf at all times, or how are you always prepared?
That's pretty much me. I love these guys, and I rock my Sons of Ben scarf and my Philly Union scarf with pride. And all the players, the front office, Ernst Tanner, Alejandro Bedoya, all those guys have been awesome. they're such great guys that they care as much about the fans as we care about them, man. And when I ask them, can I snap a quick picture of a scarf, or will you buy a scarf to help benefit my club? Like they don't even hesitate. And that makes me feel great, man, because like I said, they care about my son's future playing soccer as much as they care about their own career. And that's incredible, man. That's why I love this team and I live for it.
I love to hear that. So obviously I'm a fan of scarves as well. Was the idea just that you like scarves and so you were just going to do this? Did you come out with, I don't know, did you do any research or did you just say, I'm just going to start carrying this around and see if people want pictures?
Like you said, look at your wall there. I said, I know a bunch of maniac soccer fans that will buy a scarf with pretty much anything on it. And I just knew how great it was for it gives you an identity. It gives you a way to advertise. It makes you feel good when you're walking around a stadium or the city with your team's colors on. And like I said, I wanted the kids to feel like they were legit. They see these kids wearing Union scarves. I wanted them to see that Roxborough United scarf and be like, you know what? We are a legit soccer team in the city of Philadelphia. And, we're here to stay, man. And we want to raise guys that go play on the Philadelphia Union.
Absolutely. Love to hear that. So Jeff, you're a coach. I don't know if you have other responsibilities with Roxborough United Soccer Club, but, can you tell us, what your involvement is with the club?
Sure. Yeah. I'm the coach of the U10 team that's about to graduate to U11. And we actually won the PPR, that's Philly Parks and Rec League championship last year. We beat Fishtown. Sorry, guys. This trophy's ours. But, yeah. And like I said, that's my job for coaching. My son plays for the team. Just to see him, he's like a timid kid, and he's actually playing up I think 2 years almost. But to see his confidence grow, and that's not just from me; it's from these kids. We have a philosophy of playing together, and every game, before every practice, we have a chant, and I say, "We win," and they all come back together, and I say, "We lose," and you get a little weird faces, and I say, "Together," and I say, "But we get better together." And that's what it's all about, man, together. And these kids have learned that, it doesn't matter if you're the best guy on the team, the worst guy on the team. If we score a goal, we scored a goal together. If we leave up a goal, we left up a goal together. And these kids are buying into the system. I see them, that the better players are lifting up the kids that aren't as good. And that's always going to happen. You're always going to have kids that were maybe forced to play by their parents. Or like I said, people like me, my passion exceeded my skill. And, it happens, man. But if you love the game, you want to know that your teammates got your back. And they know anyone with that logo on has their back. And not just on the field. I'm talking about in school, in the neighborhood. If you see that logo, that's a badge. You know that person is family, man. And you can go, be with them, and they're going to help you out in anything you need. And now on the board side, I'm in ways and means, which we still haven't even decided. That pretty much means I do whatever we have to do to make this thing succeed, man.
I love it. And that's very, very well said. I love your philosophy. And so, Mike, you're also, in addition to being a president, I believe you're also a coach as well. So you can tell us a little bit about the coaching side of what you do there?
Yeah, so I coach U8 girls and I coach U13 boys, which will be U9 next year and U14. So I basically have to change the person that I am from practice to practice. I mean, some of the things that I say to the boys, if I said to the girls, I would have tears.
Although the boys want.
And then sometimes when I shout out princess all practice, it's generally at the boys' practice. So no, I do. I have to change kind of the structure of the practice and how I handle them. But the one thing that I do is I mix. I like to have fun with the kids, but at the same time, I drive them to be better. I am hard when I have to be hard on them. I mean, listen, we're not just talking soccer lessons; we're talking life lessons. And if you can understand that it's okay to get pushed and to have some constructive criticism thrown your way, I think that's kind of the rapport that I've built with my kids. And that's something that I think Jeff does very well too, is you pick your moments as a coach to when you really have to get down and cry with them when they're upset.
Yeah.
Or, when they need a little push, you push. Yeah.
It's important when you get them to buy into a system, they know you're not just yelling at them to yell at them. They know that you see something in them that they maybe haven't seen in themselves yet. And, maybe, like I said, I grew up, my dad died young. I only had my mom. I didn't have that male influence. a lot of our players maybe don't have a mom or don't have a dad, or even if they do, like, you know how busy everybody is. I'm busy, Mike's busy. Like, even with my own kids, sometimes it's hard to, you know, focus in. And like, but when we're on that field, the whole world gets blocked out, man. And they know that I'm never going to, you know, push them harder than I push myself. And they know that we're in it. Like I said, that key word, together, man, like that they know that I'm going to help them get there, and they're going to lift me up as much as I lift them up. And that's what it's all about, man. Teamwork.
I love it. Very inspirational stuff, man. You guys are, you know, getting the blood flowing over here. So I can't imagine what you're doing for these kids. That's great,
man. I'm ready. Yeah, we're ready. Like I said, we love this. We live for this.
Yeah, I love to hear that. Mike, do you have a preference between, I know, because you're pretty involved on the administrative side, administrative versus coaching. What do you like better?
You know, I would say coaching, just because of that immediate reaction. But when you see Saturday, some of the hard work that you put in, and then all these kids are coming from Saturday was opening day for baseball in our neighborhood. So we had baseball in the morning, and I was at the field 5:30 in the morning getting ready for the opening day. And then you come over here to soccer, and we have spring soccer in Roxborough, legit spring soccer hosted by the union for the first time in this neighborhood. You know, when you see that come together, I think the administrative side has to take step number one, because not only is it the 15 kids that you're coaching on your team, it's the entire neighborhood that you get to see smiles on the faces, and the parents, you know, you see the smiles on the parents' faces, watching their kids have fun and not sit on Fortnite for an hour and a half, which is great. So
that's right. You can floss, but only after you score a goal.
Yeah, exactly. So I think both have obvious, you know, positive moments, but I think the administrative side has really allowed us to make the whole situation amazing.
Yeah. We're building something here, and you know, we just noticed, like, Houston Soccer Club was founded in 1970, Indians in 71. So we're going on 50 years of soccer in Roxborough, and you know, we've, you know, thankful to all the people that kept it running all these years, because it is a labor of love. You know, there's no money in it. Like I said, nobody gets paid on this board. None of the coaches.
We don't get paid.
Yeah, I don't think we get paid. Maybe Mike's getting paid. I'm not getting paid.
No, we don't get paid.
But no, just to know that for 50 years, parents cared enough about their kids and passed along the love of the game to keep it going. Like, that's amazing, man. Like, and you know, we feel like we're just beginning too. You know, I'd love to see, you know, I can't wait to see my son grow up one day, and whether he plays or not, you know, just be active in his community and teach kids how to, like, believe in themselves through the game, man. Like Mike said earlier, it's as much about life lessons as it is about soccer lessons. You know, we want to raise good people, and, you know, we want to make them great players, but even if they don't go on to be athletes, we want them to have that foundation from us and go on to do great things. And, you know, politics, police force, like whatever they're, you know, be scientists, whatever, man. And, you know, we want them to have that belief in themselves and everybody around them, that they can make the world better if they just bear down and work hard, man.
Absolutely. Very well said. I'm loving it. We touched on this a little bit earlier, but I want to circle back to it and sort of elaborate a little bit for people who may not understand the dynamics. But you guys are on the outskirts of the city of Philadelphia, very close to the suburbs, and you're constantly competing with those wealthy kind of suburban clubs. Can you guys talk about the challenges associated with that, and maybe just fill people in for, you know, who maybe don't understand what's happening there?
Yeah. So we live in a weird spot. Where, you know, we're in a nice section of the city. So the clubs that are just outside of the city in the suburbs, they have a lot more resources than we do. But, you know, at the same time, we have some parents that can afford to send their kids up the road and play for thousands of dollars in a year. And we have other parents that could never afford that. So we're kind of between a rock and a hard place when it comes to the resources and things that we're able to offer that other clubs can go a little bit above and beyond. So that's what we're trying to change. We're trying to bring in more resources. You know, the union is Class A, but what we have to do is work harder than the other clubs, because we can't just charge whatever fee we want and make that happen. We have to fundraise now. We have to do some extra things on our part to make sure that those resources are able to come in. I mean, you know, training's not free, and nor should it be. But we have a responsibility to the kids in this community to get them the same resources that some of the other clubs outside have. So while they might not pay as much to be a member of the Roxborough United family, they'll still get similar resources, and certainly going forward, that's our goal.
Awesome. And that leads right into my next set of questions. So what are the goals for Roxborough United Soccer Club? So let's say year from now, 5 years, and then 10 years from now, what do you guys, where do you want the club to be? Do you have, either hard goals or, pie in the sky? Where do you want to be?
Oh, I got one. We are trying so hard to bring a futsal pitch. I don't know if you've seen those that they have around in major cities now.
Yeah. So the earthquakes just put one in. I live in a apartment building, literally across the street. The earthquakes just put one in.
Yeah, well, that's my main goal. I mean, Philly's urban, and we do have some field open here, but it's like I want it to be as accessible as basketball courts. As a kid, there's nothing better that all you need to do is show up with a ball, and you could create your own league, have all your friends play. Like, it was fantastic, and we want to get kids out there getting as many touches as possible because the U.S. I mean, you see on the world stage struggles to compete because our kids aren't raised with a ball at their feet, you know what I mean? And, not everyone, we want it to be a game of the people where, you can just come home after school and run over to the mini pitch and you got a big game between you and your buddies, man. And you're getting all these touches in just for fun because, soccer that's just for fun will teach you as much or maybe more as, training. And, you want to grow a love for the game. You don't want it to be like the kids are, just doing it as a job or learning a skill. Like, you want them to fall in love with this game and want to be playing it as often as possible. And that's right now, that's my main thing is we want to, and the union I know are looking into the feasibility of it. And we believe that that's one of those goals. We want to get kids in the city playing soccer and seeing them on the, the local club stage and the world stage eventually.
Love it.
So we will make that happen, whether it's whatever resource we have to tap into, if we have to raise the money over a couple years. But like Jeff said, that's priority number one for our future as far as adding that resource that's going to say, okay, these guys are for real. They're not messing around with soccer. We're going after it hard. So like Jeff said, I think that's goal number one, with a lot of other goals in the interim.
And yeah, for us, at least for me, I don't know, I can't speak for Mike, but my goal is just to make it a little bit better, every day, every week, every month, every year. And as long as we can keep, it doesn't matter if we go from 0 to 100 or, 0 to 10, as long as we're building and getting bigger and better and, the kids are loving the game, that's a win in my book, whether, it takes 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, as long as we're moving in the right direction, man, that's what I'm looking for.
Very cool. Now, so the last Roxborough United question for you. The club currently stops at U14. That's kind of an age of inflection when kids either get more serious or I know the Union Academy starts the following years or right around that age. Is the goal for Roxborough to eventually build out the upper ages? Are you guys, just currently focused on the younger ages? I just wanted to ask maybe a little bit more background there.
Yeah. So eventually we would, listen, if there's players that want to continue playing, we'll be here and we'll support that. The main challenge with that right now has been high school. To be honest, you get a lot of high school teams at that age that are starting. But I think that we can do that and we can expand that level of play. But, like I said, right now, it just hasn't been in the cards, but I could see it happening.
Awesome. Very, very cool. So I want to switch gears a little bit now and talk some Union and Sons of Ben stuff. So Jeff, I know you're pretty involved with the Sons of Ben. You touched on it
Yes,
earlier.
sir.
Can you tell listeners who may not be familiar with the Sons of Ben, can you tell us a little bit about them and what the organization means to you?
Oh, this is huge, man. The Sons of Ben, like I said, I named my son not even after the guy, after the actual Sons of Ben supporters group. And these guys were probably ridiculous enough or stupid enough or ballsy enough to start a supporters group for a team that didn't exist because MLS started in '96 and it just did not even look at Philly. It went to DC, it went to New York, it went to Columbus. And these guys said, man, I'm going to use some blue language. They said, fuck you. We're going to bring a team in. If you're not going to give us a team, we're going to take one. And they did it. And there's actually a documentary on Netflix called The Sons of Ben Movie. And you just see the passion of these guys, Brian James and Corey Furlong and just Brad Utes. Like, it's amazing. It's a literal, like, real life Rocky story of these guys that just would not take no for an answer. And like, to me, there's nothing more Philly is just being like, you know what? I mean, look, the whole country was founded on guys being like, fuck you. We're going to do it our way. And sorry for the bad language, but that's like the Sons of Ben, man. Like,
I love it.
They just didn't take no for an answer. And, you know, that's what the city's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. And even if you're not a fan of the Union or whatnot, highly recommend the documentary. I have a copy.
Yep.
Yeah, I have a copy out here. Can you guys hear me?
Yep. Yes, we're all good now.
All right, cool. I was just saying I have a copy of the Sons of Ben DVD out here, and even if you're not a Union fan, highly recommend everybody checks that out. Also, Jeff, you were honored as Union Fan of the Year. So I want to ask a little bit. So how did you win that? What went into that, and how did it make you feel?
Well, that went like I mean, awards for me, or I don't, you know, it's not why I'm in this at all. But this one actually meant so much because it actually had to be supporter nominated, and you know, picked from the fans. And like, you know, like I said, I show up. I love this team, man. Whether I get acknowledged for it is never going to change it. But this year, 10 seasons in, they voted for me for Fan of the Year. And like I said, named my son after the supporters group. We've been season ticket holders, you know, since day one. And, you know, we've built relationships. Like Zach Pfeffer was the first homegrown player. Like, he and my son still exchanged like Christmas and Hanukkah gifts because Zach's Jewish. And like, Sebastian Latou kissed my son when he was like a month old. Like, we just, like, this team is my family, and the Sons of Ben are my family. You know, it's not just I enjoy the sport and I'm a fan of the sport. Like, I literally like live and bleed and breathe for this team, and I do the same now for Roxborough United.
I love it. Awesome stuff, guys. Do you have any other teams? So obviously you guys keep yourselves very busy between, you know, the Union and Roxborough United. Do you support any other clubs? Do you follow soccer professionally in any other ways?
You want to go, or you have, yeah, I used to, you know, like, since we didn't have a team back in the day, I used to just follow players in MLS. And my favorite player of all time in MLS is Brian Carroll, just because of his work rate. The guy made the playoffs like every year for like the first 8 years or something of his career with DC and with Columbus. And like, his work rate is just phenomenal, and just how much he gives back to the community. So that was like my guy, because I could not bring myself to support DC or New York as a Philly guy. And way back in the day, 94, when the World Cup was going, you know, the U.S. soccer team, I fell in love, man. And, you know, once again, we didn't have a team in Philly. So I used to support actually Manchester City, but that was way back in 1994 when they would get relegated every other year. And nothing reminded me more of Philly than seeing a team go down every year and have to deal with Manchester United winning trophies every year. But ever since the Union got a team, like, that's the only one for me, man. Like, I will watch soccer games around the world, but the Philadelphia Union are number one, man, in my heart forever.
Love it. Mike, what about you?
Yeah, and so for me, I am guilty of researching other clubs in our area right now. So I've been, you know, kind of, I guess stalking would be an appropriate word, what they're doing, you know, we have certain clubs that charge for tryouts. We're not that club, and we don't think we ever will be. But it's just interesting to see all the different philosophies that clubs use. You know, we're big on Twitter and Instagram now.
Oh, yeah, wait, I got to interrupt real quick. Shout out to footballbox.com. I listened to that guy on your podcast, and I love these small clubs out of the woodwork, man. That's the people I want to see succeed. Like, I love the big teams, but Madrid doesn't need my money. I love seeing this guy promoting, you know, the Tom, Dick, and Harry club that's made from, like, a bunch of guys from their pub that want to go kick a ball around. Like, I love that. The sport is the world sport. It's for everybody, man. And, like, I've found more affinity for that lately than the major clubs.
Yep. Yeah. And so like I said, I've been doing a lot of research on clubs and kind of, you know, picking a little bit here, pilfering a little bit there, and putting it into our club and giving it our own spin. And I still play soccer. I play at YSC Sports, which is owned by the Union. So I still play every Thursday night.
He's got the broken finger.
Yeah, so I'm a keeper. Obviously, I don't have the body to be a striker anymore, but I'm a keeper. So I played this year with a broken finger. But, you know, it's what you do. You sign up to be on a team. You see the commitment through, and it's all circular that way. So
yeah.
Absolutely. Very, very cool to hear. And yeah, just touching on what Jeff was talking about, it's amazing what the internet and social media has done for for just all clubs, where you can have, good branding. You could be clever on social media and build up this following for a pub team, for a youth club, and interact with people all over the world. And so it's really cool. And I'm excited to continue to follow your guys' journey. Now, before I ask my final question, is there anything we didn't get to that you guys wanted to talk about?
I feel pretty good,
man. It's we talked about soccer. That's all we need to talk about.
And man, I could talk for hours and hours. And I thought you did a great job of reining us in and keeping us on point. But
believe me, he can talk for hours and hours. It's not a joke.
You should see our group chats.
Oh, it's fantastic. Well, we like to end the interview on a positive note, and we always ask this of all our guests. So what's the thing you're most excited about happening in your soccer world? You can take it any direction you want. It can be fandom. It can be, what you're watching, or it can be something, in the future. What are you most excited about? Why don't we start with Mike?
Oh, good, Mike.
Listen, I'm looking forward to the day that we can cut the ribbon on a new mini pitch here in Roxborough, right up here at Houston. When that day comes, it'll be a proud moment for not only me, but for guys like Jeff and our board. I do want to mention our board. So we have myself as the president. Jason Mabe is the vice president. Jeff and Linda are ways and means, whatever that means.
It means everything.
It does. It means everything. They do everything. And Linda runs our website.
Yeah, she's much better at it than I am. She's amazing.
Jen DeCastro is our treasurer, and Jen Conroy is our secretary, and then Jeff and Tara Reed, both our equipment managers. So, like I said, it's about putting that team together, and we've done a good job with that.
Love it. Jeff, what about you? What's the thing you're most
excited? I'm excited about this Union winning streak, bro. 3 in a row. And in typical Philly fashion, I'm already planning the parade route down Broad Street, because that's how we go, a series of high highs and low lows. But no, dude, this team looks legit. And, we've earned, it's hard to say we earned it, but we have, man. We put in 9 years, and we've been kicked in the teeth over and over again. And, guess what? We're still here, and the team, they brought in Marco Fabian, and they just look like Ali Bedoya. You saw that goal on Saturday, man. That guy wants to win as much as any fan in any of those stands. He cares about this city and this club, and we're all in, man. Let's go get that MLS Cup, bro.
Yeah, I'm so excited about the Union. They look good, and they look like they have a little bit of depth, and so we don't. I don't need to go on and on, but yeah, I'm very excited about their performance. They have some flexibility, and so I'm really excited. Montero looks like a great player as well, and so Aronson's got a huge future. So yeah, I couldn't be more excited.
Messi, have you heard that?
Here you go.
Around, man? That's
I have heard that.
Yo, Messi, if you're watching Bros Talking Soccer, come train some kids over at Roxborough United, man. I want to have the Roxborough Messi, so let's do this.
All right. Love it. So we have most of your guys' social media and website and everything linked in the video description, podcast, show notes. For anyone who's just listening, can you tell people where to find you guys?
The best thing is RoxboroughUnited.com, man. That'll link you to all our Facebook, our Twitter. And, like I said, we're on there. On Twitter, you'll see us when you see this post. Come talk to us, man. We want to meet people from all over the world and learn from people, because, we've talked a lot about city versus suburban clubs, but in reality, we just want, the kids to get the best experience possible. It isn't, it's us versus them on the field, but off the field, we want to just grow this. And so the U.S. is the mightiest soccer nation on earth, man. That's what we want. I want to see a World Cup in red, white, and blue before I die.
Me too, man. Me too. So
with a Roxborough United player as a member.
There you go.
He's the captain. Roxborough Messi. We'll leave it there.
There we go. All right, guys. Mike, Jeff, thank you so much. This has been a ton of fun. This has been awesome. I thank you guys so much for joining me, and I wish Roxborough the best. I'm going to be following your guys' journey. We'll be sharing anything you guys want, and hopefully you'll have a mini pitch sooner rather tthan later. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, man. We'll be following you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. Wear that scarf with pride, brother.
Absolutely, I will. All right, guys. Have a good one. Listeners and viewers, thank you for stopping by, and we'll talk to you on Sunday. We'll be back with another episode, and I'll be live in person. So see you guys.
See ya.